So the type 4 is the attention goes to what is missing. That is the mental quality, is what is missing, and the emotional passion is envy, because you have it and you have it and I don't. So this is the child who comes into the world, and the kind of the quality that they lost sight of is that just this kind of quality of equanimity.
Yeah, absolutely.
That all just is as it is. And for them, it's that it is, but there's this one piece missing. And some of our greatest mystics are 4s, because there's this deep longing for oneness.
Right.
So if you read Thomas Merton, and I'm going to cite Christian mystics because that's my tradition, Thomas Merton, John of the Cross, you can really feel the longing in their poetry. Rumi is a 4. Do you always just feel the sense of longing? And so in this quest for oneness, which is really for the 4, looking for completeness, oft-times they'll have their unitive experiences through just that deep work.
Yeah, and there's this real. One of the names for 4 is a tragic romantic poet.
Mm-hmm.
There's a real sense of depth, and the thing I love about 4s is they can meet you as deep as you want to get.
Yeah.
And man, they can go all the way.
Helen always says they're all the ones manning the suicide hotlines. You know?
And calling them, by the way.
they could do suicide, you know, but they really there's a quality sometimes of elitism in a 4, where it's all of you pedestrian people who kind of like boring things. For the 4, I can handle the rich depthness of life.
Terminal specialness.
Terminal specialness, yeah. I like that. Terminal specialness.
Or don't type me, because I am profound beyond all types.
Yes, yes. That's one of the things I run into JFKU program with the 4. And then
And
they'll
if
play
you're-
around with me around.
And if you're a therapist and you have a client who's a 4, and you think, wow, man, I'm the best therapist ever. It's been 15 minutes. Or as Pam said one time, we were finishing up a thing that we'd organized, and she went away, and 3 hours later she came in and sucked in by another 4.
I know, you get some really good, deep, rich conversations, you know, with the
But
4s.
one of the things that I've found at 4s is that 4s can get lost in their interiors.
Yes.
So, you think like a 7, and you got to open the door and you got to go in. But the 4 is already there, and they get lost in it, becomes a black hole. So the 4 needs to find something outside of themselves that is noble and good to concentrate their efforts and life energies on, which helps them then reorganize internally. And then all that gift becomes no longer trapped, but it becomes a wellspring of depth and beauty to share with the world.
I don't know who this was, and you might know. Someone who wrote, beware. Those of you who long for solitude, beware of your interiors, and those of you who long for the company of others, it's like it's
better find some solitude.
Yeah, find some solitude.
That's brilliant.
So we each. That's why I always tell people when I'm teaching is that the self-help book that you're reading was written was the medicine for the type who was writing the book. So your medicine for the 4 may not be to go into the deep, dark depths. It's to just go with the simple gratitude. A gratitude practice for a 4 is a profound practice. Did you ever remember that book? It was really big. Was it in the 80s or 90s? Simple Abundance? This whole simplicity movement, honestly, I think it was founded by 4s. Recovering 4s, who just recognize that, can I see, and when I have these 4 high schoolers on the panel, I love them, they'll say, a crack in the sidewalk is just so beautiful, so they have this capacity to just see profundity in something that's really simple.
And they have a great sense of style, let's face it.
A great sense of style.
I was a wilderness guide for years, and each 4 students, there were no access to mirrors and everything, and the 4 students, his scarf would be right. His hair in the wind, his baroness feet, that's a 4. It's a natural style.
Yeah, unless I'm being really unique because all of you are so focused on style, and I don't care about it,
Right.
So there's always that. It's always around how am I different from the group. Yes.
What's the emotion associated with 4?
Envy.
Oh, it was envy, that's right.
Envy, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
that's the truth.
and I can tell, in fact, we're working with fours, whether I'm collaborating with a four or something like that, you can start to see when it comes up. And it's almost, you can see the attention, because when we're centered, we're in and down, and this is very much of a Helen Palmer word, is in and down, or are we up and out? And you can almost see, it's almost a quality for four, where all of a sudden you can realize you've hit the envy. So for the four, and just like with any of the types, is where does the emotional passion show up in the body?
Okay.
Can I feel that in the body and relax into the envy? And the other side of the coin of envy is equanimity. So it comes on its own if you can relax into it. And I don't know, Emma, is there anything you'd like to offer that I might be missing?
I was introduced to Leslie as a four. Edmund, he's a four. Imagine how I feel about that.
But you're
Father
unique.
four here. Yeah.
Well, actually, one of the things that always intrigued me, and I know it was a really turning point for me, was this idea that a dysfunctional four moves towards two and a functional move towards one. And it really was a great insight for me personally to discover that.
How was that?
I don't know, there's something about when you move in towards helping others, which is kind of the nice thing to do, really, to people. But I find when I'm doing that and trying to be nice, I'm really at my worst. And I don't know why it is. I really can't figure it out, but I know it's true.
Well, you're looking
Whereas-
for the missing piece out there. It's that you can fill me
maybe that's
in,
what it
fill
is.
me. It's
Okay.
this is again, I'm speaking for us who are sharing their experience with me, is that the wholeness isn't in here. So there might be a significant other or significant group where I can
Yeah,
find the
okay.
wholeness.
Okay.
So my friend said I can almost become cloyingly helpful.
Yeah.
That's what she describes.
But I, as soon as I get into that mode, I see people backing off. Actually, I think they see something really not right.
Yes.
So it doesn't happen too often.
So what is healthy and integrating in the direction
But
of one?
the one, again, I'm not sure what it is, but I think actually the idea of missing. I mean, I know just the work I'm involved in, because I found something missing in the whole realm of. I work in the whole realm of. Even though I'm a priest, I work in the whole realm of government and politics. And I'm working on something to do with democracy and the missing bit.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes. So you can use the kind of natural visionary, because fours can be real visionaries.
Yeah. So this is important.
So you can use this
And
kind
of course,
of
it's really
natural.
special. I mean, I know I'm getting into something that people are noticing is
Yes.
unique,
Yes.
and that suits me fine.
Yes. But just kind of channeling that energy, kind of focusing, kind of that,
Yeah, I
that
think so.
energy
Yes, I am.
out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's, but it is a great breakthrough that, and actually, when you talk about gratitude, that's and equanimity. That's really, really good. You know,
Yeah.
really makes a difference.
So in the world of addiction, my guess is that for fours who are addicts, it's about filling up.
Yeah, and it's about that often that annihilation of the suffering of the inadequacy.
Yeah.
And it often leads to suicide, and often fours I've noticed who are act out horribly. They're they're just extravagant, destructive behaviors and fighting and yelling and make big scenes, and just like they're not just a little guy over in the corner like loaded on drugs. They're
Right, you can really see an aggressive quality
Yeah,
too. I've
absolutely.
seen with
I think that's
fours
rooted in
as
the
well.
envy again, which is very strong.
Yes, yes. Yeah, the other thing too, just because fours are, on the DSM would be depressives, one of the funniest people I know, in fact he's a comedian, he's an Enneagram teacher and he's a comedian and he uses metaphor in his practice, is a four.
Yeah.
Frank McCourt was probably a four, if you've ever heard him, just funny as hell.
Yeah,
So, and he could talk about addiction.
absolutely.
So that's why I always think with Ireland, as a country, it feels like 4-7.
It does. Yeah, the poetry and when we were visiting Edmund in Ireland, and we went to one of these get-togethers where everybody was presenting a poem or a song or a dance. And, oh my God, it was like artistic heaven. And people are just it was really, really gorgeous place for poets and whatnot.
Yeah, I'll have to come. Because I'm finding myself, there's something else, and this is kind of an esoteric teaching, but I think this group is, what Helen Palmer is starting to notice is there's a hole in the bottom of the Enneagram. And like, why is that there? And so I would butcher her study if I tried to explain her esoteric teaching around this. But what I'll, on a practical level, what she has started to notice, what she noticed is that look at the direction of integration, disintegration. And a 2 does not have a direction to the head types. They're heart to body and anger. And look at, same with 4s. They don't have a direction to the head type. What Helen has started to notice is that when a 2 first comes to the study, they start to go deeper, okay? When they've been doing their spiritual practice a long time, they start to move over here. They start to look more like a 5. They can go to that, kind of get out of the heart, go to this cognitive place. And she's noticed with 7s, she says, 7s first are able to, because 7s are very comfortable in the mind, and the 5 is able to really focus on one task. They're the real experts of the Enneagram. So 7 will start there, and then the more they do their work, 7s, the 7s are the panels where everybody's crying the hardest, and they start to move to 4. So that's just kind of something that's been interesting that she's noticed as people come.
Unless you're Helen Palmer, we don't recommend you add lines like that. Not at all. Yeah.